Files. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club. It's a Listener Files episode. This is the episode where we read your spooky stories and tales of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
And our trusty producer,
Riley Bray.
And last week's guest is back this week, ladies and gentlemen. The talented actor, writer, podcaster, comedian, godmother of Bigfoot Collectors Club. She's the one who brought us all together in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen,
the inimitable Jen Kirkman.
Thank you, guys. So I'm the first 3-time guest. Wait, no one's going to catch up with that.
No, well, technically, Kevin Kirkpatrick has been on multiple episodes of the Listener Files, but you're the first guest to have recurred on a main episode.
Okay.
So, also, hearing that voice, that was David Keith at the beginning. Dave Keith. I want to wish his podcast, Taco the Town, a very special happy birthday. He's been doing it for a year now. So, Dave, shout out.
Happy birthday.
Come back and visit us on the show sometime very soon. He was there for the very first L-Files episode, which is why we have that intro. All right, guys, let's get in. Let's just jump right into your emails. And I want to thank you guys for your patience. It's been a couple months since we've done one of these. We love it. And here we go. This is from a gentleman named Wayne. Hey,
hello, Wayne.
Oh,
sorry.
Really jumped on
Just wanted to say hi to Wayne.
Hi, Wayne. Hi, Wayne. I'm sorry. I'm not taking it out on you. Hey, guys. This story was told to me by my parents from around 1993, 1994. Ever since we were kids, my parents have gone on long drives around Cape Breton.
Okay. Yeah.
What is... Oh,
Mike was like pointing to Riley's like sound machines, like Riley, if you wouldn't mind,
and if trouble would you?
Oh boy!
Ever since we were kids, my parents have gone on long drives around Cape Breton, Nova Scotia.
Sure,
is that NS?
Yeah, it's in Canada.
No, but it says NS, capital N. As in Nova, capital S as in Scotia.
Sure.
North Dakota?
Yeah.
North
That's
Dakota.
Not a place.
That's an ancient Native American Indian tribe.
North Carolina. So let's say this is Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Either with us or on their own. Now, one night, the two of them left the house around 8 p.m. for a drive around Mira Albert Bridge area. After driving around for hours, they turned onto Trout Brook Road, which was a hilly, winding gravel country road back then, now paved with more homes and traffic there today. At this point, it's dark out when they were driving down the road for a few minutes with the high beams on. Up ahead, my father could see lights over the hill, so he turned off his brights and slowed down. Upon cresting the hill, they were enveloped by light. The light was bright, but it didn't hurt their eyes. My father slammed on the brakes because he couldn't see the road ahead. After a few moments, the lights started moving towards them. They knew something wasn't right and began backing up. He tried to do a 3-point turn on the road, but it was narrow, and in his haste, he couldn't judge the distances correctly and had to adjust again to get the car turned around. Wayne, sidebar, you're really good at describing driving in this. Cresting the hill... the road was narrow, and his haste, he didn't judge the distances correctly. This is good.
You just Googled driving
good
adjectives.
Stuff. Good job. I'm not teasing you, Wayne. I'm actually.
No one
Bryce, you could write a letter. You could write a letter like this
totally.
if you wanted to.
If I wanted to, yeah.
Wayne, they're joking around, but I'm serious. This is really good. As this was happening, the lights were still moving towards the car and began to float over the top of it. The lights hovered over the car until my father started to drive away. Okay, that's
crazy.
The object continued to follow them for a few hundred meters until it blasted over their car, landing in front of the car, and again, my father had to slam on the brakes. This thing's just toying with them. At this point, both of my parents are in hysterics when the object starts moving towards the car again. In a moment of, we need to get the hell out of here, my father floored it towards the lights, just as they thought they were going to either go under it or hit the object, It took off vertically into the sky and was gone.
Yeah. So they remember.
They were noticeably shaken for some time after this and haven't done any night drives in that area since. Whoa.
You know how I feel about night drives, son. I ain't doing it.
That guy played chicken with a UFO.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That would make
That's a
me want to
crazy
go on
story.
night drives every minute of my life after
P.S.
that.
Totally, I know.
We are only driving at night now.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Nova Scotia. Find out where that is.
That really is a crazy story because, I mean, that's like, you know, a UFO, like totally toying with them in the middle of nowhere.
It brought up one of the phenomenons about UFOs that I'd forgotten, the vertical dismount back up into the sky.
Sure.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. You know what's strange though is that I don't know, they might have experienced some. He doesn't say anything about missing time. It seems they narrowly escaped the UFO, but you know how I always feel about these things. Go get regressed. You were taken.
You love missing time.
Go see a hypnotist. It is Nova Scotia. Just Googled.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
That reminds me of so we did a story on the Topanga Canyon UFO flap.
Oh, yeah. We were all supposed to go out to dinner in Malibu
Yeah.
on the anniversary of that on June 29th, but we were all out of town.
So
That was my favorite episode.
Yeah, it was crazy.
it
So there
didn't
was
happen.
like
Maybe next summer.
to where one
great.
guy even recounted his car being lifted up off of the road and directed by a light beam, which is totally crazy. And this isn't just one car experiencing this. There was a multitude, about like half a dozen or so, experienced it during driving through the Topanga Canyons.
Did you say it was June 29th?
Yeah. I
That
believe
was
so.
the day I recorded the Ghost podcast, or the day it came out.
What?
Not that weird.
I think it is June 29th, 1992, 93?
Something like that.
Oh, I thought it was the 70s.
That's just because everything feels 70s. In
Yeah,
Topanga
that's
Canyon.
right. Because I was just picturing like what kind of outfits they must have had
I
on.
don't think it was the 70s. I think it
No,
was
because
the
they were
90s.
coming from Gladstones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We need to go do that.
That would be crazy. Yeah, totally.
Okay. Bryce, you got one for us?
Yeah, I do. This one should be called fucking Bigfoot, but I guess I totally gave that away. This is called Indiana Bigfoot Sighting, and it was sent to us by Noel.
No. Just the first name. Beep it out. Just
Oh, well, his Gmail can be found at
No.
Okay.
Just the
That is social.
first name.
So this is from Noah. Hey guys, love the show. My family has always been interested in the paranormal. We all used to be involved in the Southern Indiana Paranormal Investigators group, and not to mention my sister is clairvoyant. I'll just let that sit for a second. That's a whole other story. I have tons of experiences from UFOs to ghosts to exorcism and hellhounds. I have witnesses.
Hold the phone.
Yep.
Hellhounds.
Hellhounds, yeah.
Multiple experiences with hellhounds?
Tons of experiences.
Is that just a local biker gang?
I have witnesses to most and even a couple of photos. Anyways, this experience was in a small Indiana town
Noah,
called...
send the photos.
I know, some people do send photos, and I've perused a few of them. This experience was in a small Indiana town called Whitehall about 6 years ago, which just so happens to border the Monroe County Forest, which is a location that the TV show Bigfoot Hunters had captured what was thought to be Bigfoot calls. So it was about 2 a.m. Coming back from the movie theater, I was in the back seat, half asleep with my GF. Stands for girlfriend.
Oh, it's like one.
My dad firmly believes in all things paranormal. Sounds like we'd get along well.
Bryce, is this a letter from your son from the future?
Oh, boy. My dad firmly believes in all things paranormal and cryptid. My mom, on the other hand, rolls her eyes at him and says...
It is you.
My mom, on the other hand, rolls her eyes at him and says, I'll believe it when I see it. As we're driving down the road, I rest my head on the back of the passenger seat. My girlfriend is laying down fast asleep. Just as I close my eyes, my dad slams on the brakes, near breaking my neck. My dad yells out, excuse the profanity, holy fucking shit, what the fuck was that? Meanwhile, I'm still kind of asleep, and I hear my mom say with a trembling voice, I don't know, Bill. Get us out of here now. At that time, I was looking up. There was nothing there but a huge shadow across the road. My dad, with excitement, sorry, Chuck, yeah. My dad, with excitement.
No, we're not laughing at you, I
No,
promise.
we're all
We are enjoying
actually
Bryce's
really well written, and I like the performance.
Oh, good, good.
It's just fun.
We're just being entertained.
My dad, with excitement, turns to us and slaps the steering wheel. That was a fucking Bigfoot. And I look at my mom, and she's pale white, staring straight ahead. Whatever that was, it was about 7 feet tall and covered in hair. They
That's a
asked
fucking Bigfoot.
if I saw it, and I told them no. My dad
He
said
was
it
too in
cleared the
love.
road in 3 strides and stepped over a guardrail that led down a hill into the Monroe County forest. To this day, my dad still wants to track it down, and my mom will never take that road again. Thank you for reading my story. I'll write in some more in the future.
Hellhounds, please.
Yeah. Wow, so
Dude.
guys saw Bigfoot.
I love a good Roadrunner Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's a classic Roadrunner Bigfoot.
Those
Yep.
are the best.
With yet another person who does not want to go down this road again. Again,
Right.
everyone in my life would be abandoned because every night I'd be sitting by that road waiting.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I'll go with you.
Also, another good driving story and well written.
Yeah.
I could really envision him cuddling with his girlfriend in the back seat.
Yeah.
That was
She's
nice.
asleep a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
She
her
okay?
role in this?
Yeah.
Was she not in the car? Because
Why are you guys being
Why
so
didn't she
loud?
wake up?
on drugs?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank you, Noah.
Yeah,
That
thank
was
you,
a great
Noah.
story.
Appreciate that one.
The Hellhounds, I feel like when you start with that, like I have to really try hard to maintain my sense of your credibility.
Right, I know.
Because
I
Hellhounds
know.
are weird. It's
Yeah.
a weird one.
That
is-
I
Hey,
don't think I believe in them.
The guys have seen a lot.
I need to hear more about the Hellhounds
Yeah.
to make a judgment. But I believe this Bigfoot story.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it.
I'm a believer.
Mom saw it. I want to know if she is a believer after
Yeah.
seeing now.
Why can't that happen for me and my wife and turn my wife into a believer?
You got to
That
drive
would be-
around Indiana, dude.
That's what I got to do.
Maybe it will happen.
Maybe.
Never say never.
As if she hasn't experienced strange enough things with me.
We'll just leave it at that.
Please.
Jen, Dawn,
Feel free to-
please write into the podcast about your strange experiences with Bryce.
Oh, boy.
Now, I would like to get your advice before I read this because she sort of gives away the thing before she tells the story, and I feel I
Don't
should,
give it away.
I feel I should
Just say
Okay.
it's an
Edit her
email
writing.
from
read
first
it.
name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say it's an email from first name.
This is an email from Heidi, and then
Yeah. No spoilers.
hello, BCC crew. I'm so excited to be listening to your podcast. I have been getting into some more paranormal things lately, and as I think about past experiences, I realize how many odd things have happened to me. One of my most confirmable stories includes my sister. We were out shopping on Black Friday in our local mall, a very common place for us to bump into our friend. And sure enough, he was there, and he chatted with us for a few minutes, then left without giving us hugs. This struck us both as odd because he was a big hugger, and it was strange that he left without hugging goodbye.
Well, we're living in difficult times, Heidi. I just want to say,
A lot of people...
we're a little, we're being very self-aware for the first time in history. So
How dare you turn this
I know.
paranormal story into some weird
Michael.
reaction to Me Too of, I don't know if I can
I'd
hug
hug
a
you,
friend
but-
anymore.
Don't want to get in trouble.
There's some tough times for us men folk
Yeah.
over here.
bad enough I believe in Bigfoot.
God.
I got these hellhounds banging down my door. I can't hug a woman no more.
You know what I've noticed about our podcast is like whenever we do high stranger stories, it's like serious as hell. Like, and then whenever we get to our listener emails, we're just like, oh boy.
This is a chance for us to cut loose.
Yeah.
I really am like laughing for no reason,
I
as
know.
if like I'm
giddy.
high or something.
I'm giddy too.
Giddy is a good word. We know it was Black Friday as we didn't go shopping often, and it was a big event for us. Also, it was back in the day when malls were sensible and closed on Thanksgiving.
And you could still hug a woman.
Exactly. So that's why it was
is
weird.
It is
now
weird.
it's weird.
Yeah.
The weekend went by and we went to school on Monday, and we were told that our friend had died on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sorry.
They were 15 or 16. It says it earlier in the email, but if I'd read that whole sentence, it would have given it away. I didn't believe it because we had seen him at the mall on Black Friday. It took us a while to truly believe it because we had seen him. I found his obituary and confirmed he passed away on Thanksgiving Day. I wish I remembered what he talked to us about. My sister remembers seeing him as well. I always felt like he was a guardian of some sort for me. Thank you for reading this. I will send more stories, including a silly tale about a fiction alien autopsy video that my sister, cousin, and I made as an 11-and-a-half-year-old.
Oh, please
Hiding.
do,
Yeah.
and send the video as well.
But now I'm like, wait a minute,
That's
wait a minute.
Crazy story.
Okay.
I need more details. Like, in other words, and it's not, it doesn't have anything to do with that he's a ghost, but what did he die of? What was his
Right.
name? I like to be filled in a little bit
Right.
more. Did you tell anyone in his family this story? Were they comforted by it? Were they angry about it?
Right. Yeah.
Because I once had a very crazy detailed dream about my ex-husband's dad coming to me. And I told him everything, and he was then told his mother, and I had confirmed details I wouldn't have known about certain things. And my husband was mad at me because he felt I had usurped his experience.
And he had died.
The dad had died. Yeah, because I remember he was so sad about it. And I said, I know you don't really believe in like ghosts or spirits or whatever. I really wish he could come to you and tell you he's okay. And he said, I stop talking about that stuff. And I said, well, I'm going to say a prayer that I'm going to pray to him and tell him to pray. That was Riley.
That was me.
That was the sound of prayer.
And I said, and I'm going to tell him, and not that I'm some big prayer person, but I think it's fine to like acknowledge the dead. And I said, if there's a way that you're around and you can let this guy, I don't want to say his name, let him know that you're okay. And then I had a crazy involved dream that night, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And I said all this stuff, and he told me like his favorite Bible passage. I mean, it was just like details. He was talking about, he said some words in Latin that we then confirmed were, I mean, it was like a whole thing.
That's crazy.
Bizarre. And then him and his mom were kind of mad at me. They were like, well, if you hadn't prayed for him, he came to you instead. And I was like, well, I said for him to come to you guys, but you're not open.
And you delivered the message, and you're right. It sounds like they were not open to that experience.
They were not open. So I'm wondering if this girl maybe, wouldn't you go to the family of this kid and say, we saw him at the mall, like he's fine.
Perhaps she did.
Let us know, Heidi.
And I like her detail. If she didn't hug him, like that's how she knew maybe he was a ghost. Is like that's kind of the detail.
Yeah,
that confirms it was a spirit.
He didn't hug because if he had, he would have just passed through.
That's what I'm wondering.
That's what I'm wondering.
But do you think, do you think that's not true? That ghosts could actually take a physical form?
They might.
I mean, I don't think there's any stories of that really, though.
Yoda's force spirit's tangible in The Last Jedi.
Well, that settles it.
Because some people say, like, I felt a hand on me or something. So I don't know. I would like some more information. I'll give her my own personal email. You can just write me.
Wow. That is a wild story, though.
Do you want me to try this while you're reading?
Yeah, see, here.
Try
not
this, fair.
Try this little space box.
Fun!
Okay.
Just push buttons.
Okay, cool.
That looks fun.
It doesn't require
Totally.
as much
Goodbye,
as it looks like.
everybody.
I took a picture of it.
What
Wait,
do I
will you
push?
hold it up a little bit?
That's pretty good. Look at him go.
Okay, cool. Let's do this. You got one, Riley?
I got one. This is from Manuel. It's titled Medusa. Just a thought. The other day, I was listening while the three of you were playing a game as to whether or not each of you believed in certain things. Medusa came up, and an emphatic no was the response. Now, being that many myths do stem out of a real thing, but get altered with each telling of the story like a game of operator, I was wondering if Medusa could have been real at one time. Perhaps she was a hermit type of person who didn't bathe and developed a bad case of dreadlocks, which naturally happens when not washing.
I love this email.
Nowadays, it's a form of controlled matting. This person knows a lot about dreadlocks. So what if she was this filthy, smelling of rot hermit and thief, and her hair resembled snakes, and maybe if you looked at her, you just kind of froze in disgust? People would say, man, you just turned into stone looking at her. I could easily see where the story of a person like this could get blown out of proportion quickly. Thoughts?
I love that email. You're onto something, man.
I know Manuel. Manuel works with me at Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He's a props master.
I just want to say that
I
He's
like
a rad
that.
dude.
it wasn't me who said no to the believer bullshit. I mean, I I would have been on
No,
the believe
you were
it.
the one who said you believed it,
Yeah.
and then we laughed at you.
Yes.
Isn't Medusa just Greek mythology?
Yeah,
So what do you
she's-
mean you don't believe in a fictional character?
Well, that Medusa was a real creature.
Oh, it was.
No, we were teasing him
Oh.
because he started to believe everything, and then I started throwing out other
Oh, got
clearly
it.
fictional creatures. But I mean, Manuel brings up a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that we could probably find someone smarter than us that knows where the roots of the Medusa myth comes from.
Right.
But
I'd have to brush up on my Greek mythology, but yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Is can these stories be taken literally, or are they metaphorical or figurative? And it brings up a great question. I mean, when Plato discussed Atlantis, he wasn't talking about it as if it was some metaphorical or figurative place. He was literally speaking of a lost city that suffered a cataclysmic ending.
or a continent, wasn't it?
A lost continent, and not only just a continent, but a civilization of higher intelligent beings that were part of that continent, that perhaps some of the elder priests fled and survived the deluge and, sort of moved into the deserts of Egypt, taking over some of their lost arts mystery schools.
Well, and I think, too, it's possible that some Sasquatch sightings back in the day, Bigfoot sightings, it could have just been some dudes that were living off the grid, going wild and just being wild like mountain men.
Yeah, well,
Possible.
that is part of the lore too of Native American shamanism. They would send one of their elders in order to become an official shaman of the indigenous tribe. They would have to be sent out into the woods and not allowed to return for almost 7 to 10 years.
Whoa.
So within that time, they would get to know the land. They would get to know the herbs and medicines, and most of the time, some these shamans didn't come back. Probably you're eaten by a bear, but the ones that did, they came back, and they said that they looked like wild men or wild hairy men, and they were stronger and they were hairier, and they knew of all the plants and animals in the forests.
And they talked like this.
And their voice changed, and they grew 2 feet.
Well, it's kind of like Bible stuff, too. Like, you don't have to throw the whole thing out. Like, these people never lived. It's like,
Right.
if there was the historical figure of a Jesus, which I've read about, which there was many Jesuses. Like, there are a lot of people doing, like we've boiled down like Martin Luther King, the leader of the civil rights movement, but there was thousands of people part of it. So there was many Jesus types who were trying to explain to people that God is not
Prophets and
Avatars, sure.
God is not the government, and we have a connection and whatevs. So it's like you can take a story like healing the sick, the blind, the lepers, into like maybe reducing their shame. Like, I'm healed, like I'm still sick, but I see myself differently. I feel, whatever. You don't have to be like, that never even happened. It's like,
Right.
all right, calm down. It could be like
Yeah.
that these
This guy
stories are
dreadlocks.
inspired
Yeah,
by
just a-
real.
It's a dirty hippie,
Yeah.
just a dirty hippie who
Smelly.
Who hung
Medusa.
out with criminals.
I mean, I often sometimes wonder if maybe the Red Seas did part. Maybe Moses did have some magical power that he was akin to that could, through his staff, part the Red Seas. And I often wonder, like, how often did magical and miraculous things take place literally back then that really just don't happen nowadays, or that we're really just not aware of? I mean, because obviously these stories that we read and we hear about, shit's going down all the time that
Well,
can't be explained
They
by.
didn't have Instagram.
Moses
Yeah.
is a good example because he was supposed to be around 2,000 years, 2 to 3,000 years before Christ.
Right.
And we're living 2,000 years post-Christ. So there was just as much time difference between Moses and Christ as there is Christ and us. And I
Mind blown.
think Moses was probably a very good example of someone who was, I mean, we have no historical record that a man named Moses actually lived. No historical record. It's all oral and stories written down in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and the Torah. So I wonder if Moses was kind of like a Hebrew Hercules or a Superman figure that was mythological, but was taken to be, at least today, as somebody who literally existed. And it makes me wonder if 2,000 years from now, people will wonder if Superman actually existed. You know what I mean? If there was a real Clark Kent, if there was a real Peter Parker who was Spider-Man.
That'd be amazing.
You know what I mean? That there will be debates about whether or not there was a Bruce Wayne who dressed like a giant bat. And it's not to minimize
I was going to say, if world wars take place over the existence of Clark Kent.
But you're right, like as history goes, and all that's left is like the stories that are actually just stories.
Right. And
why would they know if it's real or not?
Yeah. And listen, that's not to minimize anyone's religious beliefs or not, but it's fun to think about. It's fun to think about, and it's fun to think about the fact because it seems to reason that the stories of Moses originated around the time a lot of the same as the Greek myths as well. There was this sort of age of heroes that took place where there's like Gilgamesh, who's one of the original fictional heroes. That these are old, iconic, basically superhero figures that existed thousands of years ago and became the founding figures, literally,
they're rooted in history,
mythology and theology for certain populations in across the world. But fun to think about.
We'll have to just head to the internet for answers.
I did a pretty good job on that fun soundboard. Anyway, here we go.
Yeah, you did.
You really did.
All right, this one is from Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
This is an odd story that you guys might appreciate. In the winter of 2008, our family dog, Cody, that shared a great life with us for 15 years, died. The vet suggested cremation, but my mother, for some reason, decided against that as she wanted him to be buried in our lakefront property. The thing is, however, is that we live in Michigan and the ground is awfully frozen in late February. I went to high school in Michigan, and this is very, very true. This obstacle meant preserving Cody's remains in a makeshift morgue in my father's garage. Yeah. It's not like we kept the coffin next to the DiGiorno pizzas or anything.
I mean, calm down.
But it was kind of odd, nonetheless, to have what I now refer to as the popsicle hanging out in our garage freezer until the ground thawed. My mom is very spiritual, and while sitting in her van one night after work, she was praying and reflecting on Cody's life, sending out vibes and apologies because she felt she had feelings of guilt. She thought that maybe our dog hadn't felt love towards the end because there were moments of frustration such as Cody experiencing incontinence and messing on the rug and such. And during this prayer and reflection, the interior lights in her van began flickering. She was convinced that it was some kind of sign. I thought she was a little kooky and didn't think much of it. Until about a week later. I was sitting in my room on the phone with my girlfriend, and the topic of Cody had come up in the conversation. Is that the sound of a girlfriend?
No, it's just me like, ooh.
I thought that was you. I thought Bryce did the electronic sounds, and you did the sound of a girlfriend. And a girlfriend sounds like this.
I just thought maybe they were saying
cute
stuff.
Yeah. I'd like to imagine that they were.
Calm down.
From you.
I didn't say phone sucks. I just said maybe I like you.
As we were discussing the dog, I looked into the hallway and our two bulb stairway hanging lights. Suddenly, one bulb made a pop noise and burned out. So I thought. I exclaimed, "Whoa, that's weird." Right when I looked at the light, one of them burned out. Quick fact about the lights, there is no dimmer and only two switches control an on-off response. One switch at the top of the stairs, one at the bottom of the stairs. After a few moments, one bulb flickered and came back on. I thought this would be very odd, and I remembered my mom's story about Cody and the lights flickering. I decided to do a little experiment and asked Cody to turn off the light. After asking, the same bulb flickered out while the other bulb remained lit. I became excited and began commanding Cody to turn the light on and off in different time intervals. I'd wait 30 seconds, 2 minutes, etc. to make sure that this was actually happening when I spoke the commands. It was so bizarre. I got my brother and showed him, and he was dumbfounded and a little freaked out. He eventually became so creeped out that he hit the switch and turned the lights off. Warm weather came, and eventually we laid Cody to rest after the ground thawed. I was never able to replicate the light event again, but months later I told the story to a group of friends on my pontoon boat. Oh, it's so Michigan. So Michigan to be on your pontoon. Love it. At the end of the story, the boat's navigational and exterior lights flickered for a few moments. Really freaking out some of my friends. I just laughed and shrugged it off. But was it a sign? Was it my dead dog? Or just a coincidence? I am, to this day, not really sure. But I hope you enjoyed another weird dog story. P.S. Try not to make fun of my poor grammar and spelling errors on the podcast. Not at all. That was great. And we only make fun of Bryce.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Thanks, guys. I'll try to get you some more stories soon. Jimmy.
Cool.
Thank you, man. That was a great story.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know,
Sad. I'm sorry for...
You know what they say? He said maybe it's a coincidence. The word is coincidence.
Oh.
It is very purposeful when things come together like that.
There are no coincidences.
Exactly.
Wow.
It brings into question, I don't know if you talked about on the show before, like, do animals have souls?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you
They
cannot
do.
look into the eyes of a living creature, whether big nor small, and not help but to wonder that there is a entity there. There is a soul inside that being. And
as a dog owner, a dog parent, I would like to say, or a dog...
That's right. You don't
I
own
don't
him.
I don't own these guys.
caretaker.
They got souls.
Yeah.
My dead cat from childhood, and I never wanted another cat again because it's too painful. Mittens. I believe Mittens had a soul because they're just almost like an empathy or something. But I went and saw a psychic in New Orleans when I was in my early 20s. Like, just, I didn't even mean to go. It was part of a road trip for work.
Oh, one of those accidental psychic instances.
Whoops. Well, we were in some shop and they were like, anyone want a reading? And this girl was like, child, get over here. There is a cat that wants to talk to you.
What?
Wow.
Really?
And I went over and she was like, it's black and white, blah, blah, blah. She's like, that cat is that cat's a guardian angel.
What?
Wow.
So my sister always now continues to get black and white cats and names them Mittens. So she has a new one right now, and it's like my soulmate.
Oh,
I mean, I visited a few times a year, and she just stares at me and just sits on me. She's like, it's the reincarnation of our childhood cat, Mittens. I'm like, I don't think you come back twice as the same kind of cat, but I'm just putting a lot of energy into this cat.
Yeah.
It's a friend.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, and I'll go one step further. What about insects? What about bugs?
Fuck them.
Well, they say
Soulless bastards.
I heard something recently that fish aren't really sentient, that they are just kind of like swimming nervous systems, but they're not.
Because they don't have a central nervous system.
Hello,
Yeah,
you ever
whatever.
listen to Nirvana? It's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings. It's
Yeah.
the lyric.
That's like, damn, girl. I'm sorry.
The mic
Mike swing. So I don't know. Bugs, I don't know.
I can't help but to see. I don't like kill bugs in my house. In fact,
I don't either.
And
I try not
I'm always
to.
like, Dad, whenever I hear that, or my wife screams, I know what I have to do, and it's usually like rescue a spider or a
I take the
cricket
spiders
or a-
outside.
Yeah.
And I let them go.
Yeah.
I'm on the fourth floor of like a condo, so I don't really see any bugs. But if there's a spider,
It's a Spider-Man
I
because
usually-
you live on the fourth floor.
I usually just let it go if they're small because I'm like, whatever, I don't even care.
Yeah.
But only time I do kill them is because it's like a mosquito, like they will bite you. But if it's a big spider, I would freak out. But I mean, like if you lived in Australia and saw like those big ass things,
Dude, they got in
I would
Central
shoot one
California.
with
They
a
got
gun.
tarantulas. I used to see
What?
tarantulas all the time.
Where?
My dog would catch them. And
Where?
Try
Where?
to eat them in Paso Robles.
I don't-
But the party barn.
oh my god, that's so scary.
Yeah, there were tarantulas at the party
But
barn.
see, if bugs
they,
have
they
souls-
were cute. They were cute.
If bugs have souls, that puts a really scary twist on these years that I lived in shitty apartments that were like overrun with cockroaches. It's like I knew they were out to get me, and if they have souls, now I know.
Yeah, or like when you're a kid and you would step on ants for fun, and now
Right.
you're just like you've committed mass genocide.
Well, it begs the
Before
question,
you
where's
turn 5.
the dividing line? You know what I mean? I mean, you
Let's
can
be.
eat
God damn it! I eat meat too, so this I
was
can't-
just gonna
I
say,
can't-
it's hard
I don't
to-
have a leg to stand
Plant
on.
I only eat
Based.
fish and mostly plant.
yeah, no, I
You
eat
know what?
fish, too.
Plants have souls too, motherfucker.
Well, that's
so
what-
don't
that's-
kid
yeah,
yourself.
but they
Yeah.
want to be. They want us to eat them.
Well, it makes you kind of rethink what the word soul or spirit is, right? Because I would say that like trees have a spirit or
Yeah,
like
they
an
do.
energy to them, but would I necessitate that it's an actual like soul of a being? I mean, I don't know, Terrence McKenna used to think that, he used to say, and even shamans of those old rainforest cultures, they say, no, each plant has a spirit and they talk to us, when we go into those altered states of consciousness. Not only do they talk to us, but they have messages to bring us and information to give us.
It makes sense that so much food is healing and so many plants are used in medicine. I feel we're actually supposed to source from them for our growth.
Yeah.
And I like cheeseburgers. Okay,
thanks,
Bryce,
Michael.
you got one?
I do, but I think, like you pointed out, it's more commentary. But I think her story was a little long. But I remember I grabbed this part because what I was looking for when I was combing through these emails is I was going through these emails a while ago, and I found something that related to your kind of window alien story. And I was looking for it. I don't know if I found what I was looking for, but anyway, so I pulled this from Molly, and this was more of part of after she told her story. She said, I wanted to share a little tidbit that the alien-looking thing in the window experience reminded me of. When I was a kid, the way my bedroom was laid out was that there was 2 beds built into the wall head-to-head under a sloped ceiling with a shelf in between them. So I slept on the bed that faced the door, obvi, which meant there was a raised shelf area in between my head and the window, which looked over the garage. It was only 1 story, which meant that I, for some reason, was totally sure that at night, when I was going to sleep, there were aliens standing on the roof of the garage looking through my window. I remember being absolutely terrified and just trying my hardest to breathe shallowly and just not move because they couldn't see my head behind the shelf, and maybe they wouldn't know I was there if I just didn't move. I was seriously so fucking scared of it. Every night, which my parents and eventually I believed was because I watched Unsolved Mysteries too young. I'm with you, Molly. And the idea of aliens abducting me was just the scariest shit in the whole fucking world. Still is, won't lie. Anyway, in order to combat my irrational fear, the dog started to sleep in my bed at night, and it totally stopped it. For some reason, having the dog, a hound named Mo, sleep with me in my bed meant to me that I would either be alerted, protected, or just not fucked with. So, hearing that story of a dog alerting that there was an alien looking in the window was literally my worst fear as a child coming true. Chills. Thanks again for the listen, Molly.
Nice.
A hound named Mo.
Yeah.
Hound named Mo.
Racing up to the top of the country
Yeah.
charts.
That's funny because
BJ and the, what was it?
I felt a little Casey
Shadow
Kasem.
Oh, yeah, BJ and the Shadow Bats.
BJ and the Shadow Bats.
Hound named
That's
Mo.
Bryce's band.
But that reminded me of your story and then my story when that thing looked in my window. I remember specifically going, not only couldn't I move, but don't move an inch. Don't even blink your eyes so that it may not actually see you. You know what I mean? You have that feeling of I don't want to alert my presence to it, whatever.
God, remember how stressful it was trying to sleep as a kid, and you were just like, any minute now, there's a monster coming to get me.
My brother was in town.
I still have those feelings where you feel like something's behind you. But,
Oh, totally. My little son, it's so fun to watch him walk down a dark hallway because it's like the thing is literally on his back. It's
Yeah.
In the mornings you'll hear stop, and then he's racing into our room and he's a little out of breath. Where's my iPad? And he's just like, but it's the morning light is in and you're just like, dude, it's okay. The lights, it's light out, bro.
iPad.
And then you're it's in the kitchen. He's like, can you come get it with me? And I'm yes.
I still do stuff like that. I get scared to go room to room in certain houses.
God.
Yeah. I mean, those things have a profound effect on us. You know?
They do.
My brother was in town. My older brother Brendan, and we were talking, and I was like, "Hey, I was thinking back to that thing that I experienced when I was young, and I was like, didn't you say you saw something in our church one time?" And because I know he said he saw this red entity, and I thought I remember him describing it as a bull, like a red bull. But to my surprise,
from The Last Unicorn,
right? Totally, from The Last Unicorn. Totally, the movies really are having a profound influence on us. But no, he was actually, it really was more of a a human figure, like a figuroid. And I was like, what did it look like? He's like, it was just red. It was like red.
So he saw it too.
He saw something, something like similar.
Place.
And but then my brother's so pragmatic. He was like, it could have easily been like one of the lights from the church is doing something. And then I'm like, you really believe that? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, listen, he's like, what I always say, is he's like, our scientists are telling us through quantum and string theory that, our perception of our natural materialistic world is literally melting away before the analysis. I mean, what we're finding is just that, things can pop into existence and pop out of existence, and it's only through our observation that can help materialize these objects, and he's like, so, I mean, there's a case to be made on the scientific basis that, that the unexplainable might just not be quite explained yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Jen, you got a story for us?
Oh, yeah, there was one.
Do you want us to fix your microphone? It keeps traveling away from you.
Sure. I don't know how to do it.
There we go.
I don't know how to do it.
She's only a stand-up comedian. She doesn't work with microphones.
Oh, my God, rude. That is true. It's mean.
She has people who do that for her.
That's
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It's fucking Jen Kirkman, man.
I have 3 people I travel with.
I thought you were going to
Just the
say,
mic.
I have 3 Netflix specials.
No, I don't. I only have 2.
Awesome.
Okay. Little UFO encounter tale.
Yay!
From Sarah.
It's a little UFO encounter.
I hope I didn't give away anything by saying it. Who
No,
cares?
it's fine.
Hey, guys. I was introduced to your show through the Totally Lame episodes. I love that podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I began
Shout
listening.
out Elizabeth and Andy.
I began listening as a fearful disbeliever. But after many days of binging your entire catalog, I'm proud to say you flipped me.
Yeah.
To the point where I now regularly scare people off by frantically retelling the stories I've heard on your show.
Oh, my God. Welcome to the club. We love it.
I don't have quite the same calm, cool, and confident delivery you two have.
Oh, well.
It takes a little bit of practice.
I want to talk like them. I'm trying to talk like you. I'm writing to you with my dad's story. He was a teenager at the time, so this would be in the late 60s or early 70s. He and his friends were camping just outside of Calgary, Canada, drinking around a fire when they noticed a group of colorful lights in the distance. Colorful with a U, because this is Canada.
Oh.
As they sat there quietly watching, the lights began to move closer and closer and eventually hovered over them. My dad and his friends, obviously, began to freak out, wondering what the hell it was, when the lights suddenly zoomed off at lightning speed to a kilometer or 2 away, and again stopped and hovered. Being teenage boys, they took off running to try and catch up with it in order to get a closer look. But as they were running, the lights zoomed off again and then simply disappeared. So there you go, a short and sweet one. Hope it's somewhat interesting to you. Keep up the great work.
What was her name?
Sarah.
Sarah, I got news for you. Your dad was abducted.
Get him regressed.
Get a
He lost time.
hypnotist.
Get him regressed.
I don't know if hypnotists are covered by free health care in Canada, but you need to get one for your dad.
You need to get regressed
You need to-
ASAP. ASAP.
It's my favorite, no matter what.
Yeah,
Your son comes to you. I scraped my knee. We're going to get you regressed. You've obviously lost time
What do you mean?
on the playground.
Son, I got news for you. You're abducted.
I need my iPad.
That's a new t-shirt idea. I got news for you. You were abducted.
That's a great t-shirt idea.
It's true.
I mean, it's so funny because I hear something like this and I go, yeah. A bunch of teenage guys drinking around a campfire. I'm sure they were doing more than that.
Like sucking each other's shit.
No,
Whoa.
no, not a circle jerk. I'm just thinking more maybe
And
some
if they were,
light
that's cool,
marijuana
man.
smoking. Yeah, whatever. Exploring their
Totally.
bodies.
Exactly.
I thought maybe they were smoking pot or something. Maybe some mushrooms.
And looking at each other.
Oh, boy. Sorry,
So
Sarah.
now I'm like,
It's a magical
let's
time.
just say they were high.
Yeah.
you also like you can't see a UFO when you're high. Like it can't be both. Like I always dismiss these
In fact,
things.
I would say
absolutely
getting a little high, like the alcohol with ghosts,
might
tune your frequency into seeing some stuff that you might not be able to see if you weren't.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a chicken and the egg kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a weird thing my mind does when I want to dismiss something, but it doesn't mean you can't also experience it.
It's true.
It's funny. I don't smoke a lot of weed these days, but when I did only about a year ago, I would I would smoke
generous.
and then I would constantly like first thing I would do is just stare up into the sky. You know what I mean? And like, because so often we're just like looking around. But no, I mean, I would like, as opposed to just looking around, I'd be looking up into the sky, and that's when you start to see some like weird things, So yeah, I think weird things for me is like personally what I saw was just like when I was doing that, I'd see these like white kind of dots. They I guess you could call them like white orbs.
Well, you had that string of time when you were seeing those orange orbs.
Well,
filmed those.
I only saw the one on the Halloween
I thought you saw a
night.
couple.
But for the majority of them were the white ones, and they would move like they would zigzag across the sky. Weird, but yeah, you can do both. You can get high and see stuff.
Definitely.
Are you singing from the Tim Burton movie?
No, similar, but no. This is a song we learned in school.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah,
It is scary.
Especially with children's voices.
Creepy.
Double L-O, W-E-E-N spells Halloween. H.
Oh yeah, that is creepy.
It's really freaky.
You need to stop that.
He can't.
I was trying. That was my ethereal backup music for your floating orange.
Do you have a video of this?
Yeah, we put it up on the Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I should show you. I could find it real quick for you. Yeah.
All right, Riley, you got one?
Yeah,
Why don't
you
you
want-
pass over that fun board?
Fine. I'm so jealous.
See what that patch. Maybe we'll adjust.
No.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do it if
I've
you
already
want.
spilled coffee. I mean, I can't.
Try hitting one of those buttons. See how it feels.
I'm jealous too.
It's probably not that cool.
No, I know.
I feel like I'm trying to fly a UFO.
Try it again. You'll get it. You'll learn it.
Interface with the board.
Ooh, that one's spooky.
It's so fun.
This is from Amy. Hello.
Hi, Amy.
I was just listening to the Adela Levine interview, and I got so excited about her talking about the blue entities that I needed to write this email. I had an experience as a child that I've classified as a dream, quote unquote, even though at the time it felt like I was awake and it was real. All these years later, it does feel dreamlike to remember it. However, listening to Adela talk made me feel a real possibility that it wasn't a dream. I've always remembered this as my Blue Men dream, not to be confused with the Blue Men group, LOL. This was years before they became popular. I was around 5 or 6 years old and woke up in the middle of the night and was compelled to go downstairs. It was dark out and no lights were on, but I remember feeling absolutely no fear or hesitation. I went down to the kitchen and the room was filled with these beings. They were very tall, humanoid, arms, legs, heads, and had blue skin, not bright blue, but like a natural lighter blue. I remember...
Aliens. Sorry.
No, yeah, totally. I was thinking the same thing. I remember thinking their skin was a different texture than ours. Thicker, tougher, rougher maybe. I remember thinking they had no gender and no clothes and no hair, but that none of that was weird to me. Also, they had no mouths. But I remember understanding they spoke telepathically. They spoke to each other using their minds, and they spoke to me this way as well. I remember it all being very calm and safe feeling. They gave me a pleasant feeling of being watched, but not like in a creepy way. More like when you're playing at a playground and you know your mom is nearby. One of them sat down and I sat in their lap, and all I remember is them telling me that I was okay, that I was safe and taken care of, and that's it. That's all I remember. After listening to Adela, I wonder if more information was passed on to me at this time. I just haven't unlocked it yet. Anyways, great podcast. Thank you guys.
You got to get
Bryce,
regressed.
You gotta get regressed. What else is there to say?
Is it? Well, first of all, even if it was a dream, that can't still real. If that makes sense. Just
Yes.
this experience.
Whoa,
Absolutely.
she
Totally,
sat on
that's
one
a
of their
crazy
laps.
story.
Isn't that lady from the seance episode?
Yeah,
say
Adela
something about
Levine.
That's who
That's
she was
Levine.
referring
That's
to,
who
yeah.
she was referring to.
Oh,
blue
okay. The
beings.
blue.
Yeah.
Also, Michael,
Oh.
great work on that score there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
Turns
pretty
out-
good. Pretty
Riley's
good.
not that talented.
Oh, See? Should have never given him that
I'm
board.
kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
I only pre-programmed the whole
Really?
thing so you could just
Appreciate
push
it.
random buttons.
I wonder
I
if we
can't
will
do
get
it.
to.
You're brilliant.
No, I'm
We
kidding.
will
It's all
get to
smoke and mirrors.
telepathically communicating. I mean, we already do in some ways. Really close to someone, you can kind of.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for that.
Absolutely.
That's
Great
fascinating.
for the quiet car and Amtrak.
No mouths.
People
What,
still talk in it.
what did you say
Yeah.
that you thought that you made you think of? What did you say? I missed what you said.
Oh,
When you-
Pleiadians.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Pleiadians.
What are those?
Like a group of alien entities from the Pleiades star system that are blue in nature, and they're often described as very beautiful and
They're super chill.
super chill. Those are the good. They're the good ones.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot 'em
I'd
all
love,
out.
I'd love them to be real. I'm not saying
Yeah.
they're not. But
Yeah,
that
yeah.
entices me.
Man, I sat on an alien's lap.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm a little
Well,
jealous of
that's
Amy.
good.
That's, an awesome
that's a
story.
great story. I think we should end there. We've got some more,
Yeah.
but if you didn't hear your story today, you'll hear it on a future episode. Guys, thank you so much for writing in. We
Yep.
love you. And I want to give a shout out. I meant to do this last week to Brett Lynch for updating our logo.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's been up now for a couple weeks, but we want to thank Brett. If you're listening, thank you. Thank you so much to our guest, Jen Kirkman, of
Wow,
2
so
weeks
amazing.
in a row.
Thanks,
we love
Jen.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Jen.
much
We
for
love
coming.
you.
Now you can't be on the podcast for at least another year or until you have your UFO experience. I'm just kidding. You're welcome back anytime.
I was going to say,
Everyone, you'll have a break from me after this.
we don't
one.
need one. We want more Jen Kirkman.
Go to jenkirkman.com to find out what her tour dates are. You can get on her email list there. Don't bug her on Twitter. All the information is on her website.
They're gonna never
Check out her 2 Netflix specials. And also be sure to follow her podcast, I Seem Fun, The Diary of Jen Kirkman.
Yeah.
And if you are a listener of that podcast and have found us through Jen, thank you. And thank you for giving us a second chance.
Yeah, write them an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Write us an email with your story. We
She
want
What's
to
your
hear all
email?
about it. BigfootCollectorsClub@gmail.com.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess that's that then.
That's
huh?
it. Let's zip up this mailbag
we gotta
and let's
end this
head out
fun?
of town. I got to get regressed.
All right.
That's my favorite thing.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is produced by Riley Bray. Our theme song is Come Alone by Suneaters, courtesy of Lotuspool Records. If you like the show, please rate and review us on iTunes. It really helps get the podcast to more listeners. To support the show, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Bigfoot Collectors Club and unlock multiple reward episodes every month.